Good morning. Such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. You are that opportunity, and so am I, and so it is. Welcome, everyone, to CSL Midtown, coming to you this morning from Atlanta, Georgia. We're so glad that you have joined us today. We welcome all people, no matter who you are or where you are in your life. We welcome all those who are listening either online, live right now, or on our recording. Our center is diverse and it reflects this beautiful expression of life through diversity. So we welcome you, whoever you are, and whatever path brought you to be here today. Know that you are in the right place and this is the right time for you. We know that you are an individual expression of the divine life in which we all live. And you are welcome to be here today and to participate and to connect with our community and be a part of our community. We hope that those of you who are watching our broadcast on social media will like and share this with your friends. For a better understanding of who we are and what we teach, listen now to our Declaration of Principles as written by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes.
A few of the Declaration of Principles we live by.
I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding.
I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
So grateful. The full declaration is available on our website, cslmidtown.org. Good morning again. My name is Judy Ailey, and I'm the practitioner for today's service. Today is the last Sunday of March, if you hadn't noticed, and we are continuing with the theme, What If? And today our topic is being a possibilitarian, and we will be hearing a lot more about that later in a few minutes. The affirmation for today is, I live as proof that we are one spirit, limitless and loved. And today I'm going to begin by reading a quote from Ernest Holmes that comes from his book, Love and Law. There is only one thing that I ask of you, and that is that you believe absolutely that this thing works. If you do not believe it works, it will not work, because everything is belief. Everything is mind, and all operation is thought. And there is not a law in the universe that is not the power of mind and action, and there never was, and there never will be. Anything you ever saw or ever will see is simply the result of mind in action. If you can't learn to live today and get a lot out of life and have as much fun as I had today and be as prosperous as we ought to be and be well, you should not worry what is going to happen tomorrow. You take absolutely too much responsibility upon yourself. It amounts to fear, which is a natural consequence of a belief in limitation. I want to endeavor to show you how you can become less limited. I say again, this will mean absolutely nothing to you. It is worthless, useless, unless you believe it. And not only believe it, but that you go right at it as though you had always known it, and it had always worked, and there was no possibility of failure. You will get the biggest results if you will say nothing to anybody of what you want to do. If we could add to the commandments, and I love this, the greatest would be mind your own business. That's from Love and Law, and of course by Ernest Holmes. I'd like to transition now into leading us in an affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment. So if you become comfortable where you are, take some slow, nice, deep breaths and allow yourself to be present, to be fully here and right now. This is the place where creativity takes place in the moment, in the present moment. And as we do this, we recognize and know that spirit is all there is. This presence, this life, this intelligence, this love, this creative force that we can use in our lives that is limitless in its possibilities. It is limitless in its love, in its prosperity, in its vibrant health, in its peace, in its creativity, in its divine intelligence. And that the truth is that we are each connected to this presence fully and completely. Whether we remember it every moment, whether we forget it at times, it is always here. It is always loving us. It is always present. It is always guiding and directing us and filling us with divine ideas, with new possible creative ways of looking at life, of all the things that we need to live a life that is glorious and abundant and vibrant, and that fits each one of us absolutely perfectly. This is my truth. I know this to be true, and I know this to be true for each person that is listening. I turn away from any ideas of limitation or lack or stress or worry or fear or malfunction. Instead, I know that in truth, that this present is infinite possibilities. It is endless in its creation of good in our lives. And I align myself with it. I allow it to flow through my life, through my body, through my world, through my affairs, through my mind. And I know that because of this, that all is well, that all is unfolding absolutely perfectly, moment by moment in my life. I rest in this knowing. I rest in knowing that all is well. So I know that today's service is great, that it's a blessing to all those who are listening now or later, and that each person here hears absolutely the thing that they need to hear today to move forward in their life of goodness of all kind. So I'm just grateful for knowing that this is the truth. This is the truth of how life works. And I release this treatment now, knowing that it is so, and so it is. All right. Well, we are so pleased to welcome back to CSL Midtown Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer. He holds a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate from Emerson Theological Institute, and he currently serves as the board president of the affiliated New Thought Network, a membership organization of Unity, New Thought, CSL, Divine Science Centers, and churches, as well as individuals. Jerry is also founding board member and currently director of relationship development for Urban Street Angels, an organization in San Diego County that works to end youth homelessness. He is the author of the acclaimed book, Coming Out to Ourselves, Admitting, Accepting, Embracing Who We Truly Are. Welcome back to CSL Midtown, Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer. So happy to have you today.
Thank you so much, Judy. It's great to be with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, good morning, dear ones, from warm and sunny San Diego, where it's earlier than Atlanta, or good afternoon or good evening if you're watching later. It is awesome to be back with you. Heartfelt thanks to Judy and Maya for the opportunity. So as you may know, our theme for Centers for Spiritual Living in 2026 is What If? I beg your pardon. Our theme for 2026 is Open at the Top, quoting Ernest Holmes. Our theme for March is What If, and today, becoming a possibilitarian. Might not have heard that word before. Admittedly, I hadn't, although I really liked the concept of it. But I did a little research and found that Norman Vincent Peale is the one who coined this expression about being a possibilitarian. And I have a quote from him that gives us a little more information about what this means. No matter how dark things seem to be or actually are, raise your sights and see the possibilities. Always see them, for they are always there. And I'll talk much more about that in a little while. So what we know is everything started as a thought or an idea. Where you live, the chair on which you're sitting, Centers for Spiritual Living and CSL Midtown, our relationships, our finances, our day-to-day experiences, our physical health, all started as an idea. Not necessarily one that we consciously chose. Could have been something we inherited, could have been an assumption that we made because somebody that was in authority told us that's how life was and we said, oh, okay. But all of that started as an idea. And because of that, we can have, and you might have heard this before, a new thought and decide if this still works for us or if we are ready for something new and different. Someone, not me, once said, if you're not using your mind, who is? And I would suggest it's our parents and grandparents and other people that we grew up with that taught us how life is, how relationships are, how money is, what we should do and shouldn't do. And because we were probably a young age and respected that person that was talking to us, including our ministers, we said, oh, okay, and accepted that as our truth. But the opportunity is for us at any point to say, now, wait just a minute. I might have believed that before, but is that still true for me, or do I want to change? Sometimes it's the divine discontent, and I'll talk more about this, but I bet you've had that it's that it's okay. You know, my money is okay. My relationships are okay. My job is okay. And you get the still small voice that says, yes, but it could be so much better. And sometimes we act on that really soon. Sometimes we don't, and we wait and, well, it's okay. And yeah, I can settle for that. And very often, at least my experience has been, if I'm not listening and doing what needs to be done and asking the questions, what do I need to do next to experience its greater good? Sometimes it comes as the cosmic 2x4 that you really need to leave this job. Didn't leave this job. That was my experience. And I like to say lovingly released, but I was laid off from my day job many, many years ago because I wasn't listening to that divine discontent and that possibility. So we know our thoughts are creative, but do we allow spirit to do the work in creating our most amazing life? Or do we get involved in the yes, but? Do we limit our plans and goals and dreams to what we know how to do? Or do we recognize that the what is our responsibility, the how is not? Do we limit to whatever that is to, and I love to use the example, do we limit it to UPS? But could it come FedEx or Postal Service or DHL or one of the other delivery services? Or do we limit to how it could be rather than allowing spirit to do what spirit does? Ernest Holmes once said that if it is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, Sorry, Diego. That's next. If it's our Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, it should be our good pleasure to receive it. And he also said, there is a power greater than we are, and we can use it. And I would suggest that we do use it. And we'll take that next slide. There we go. Thank you. There is a power greater than we are, and we do use it in every moment of every day in our day-to-day lives because we're affirming something. We're choosing something, and either consciously or unconsciously. When I first found this teaching, and it's been many years ago, I was really excited because we get to create our experience, followed very quickly by this mess that I'm standing in the middle of. You mean I created this experience? But the good news is, when we stay out of victimhood, when we stay out of blame, when we stay in this possibilitarian experience, whatever it is up till now, we can change. We can step into our greater life. We can step into our greater good. And I was terrified because, oh my God, I had a thought about something terrible, and so I'm going to manifest that. No, and as we know, that's not how it works. It's because we have that's what some people call the monkey mind. We're always thinking about something, and oh my God, what am I going to do if? And we can just observe that and allow it to keep moving forward. But it's how we inhabit our lives. If we come from a place of not enoughness, and I don't know if that's a word, but I used it, so it is now. If we come from a place of not enoughness, and it's early in San Diego, and it's still morning, probably in Atlanta, if you're watching live. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I haven't had enough coffee last night. I didn't get enough coffee this morning. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I'm not enough. I didn't do enough. They don't do enough. And so in this pattern of thought of not enoughness, that becomes our experience. So there's not enough parking places at Costco. There's not enough time to do that. I'm not smart enough to be able to. I'm not attractive enough to be able to. And that becomes our experience, not because we're being punished for something, but those are our patterns of thought. And the universe, which always says yes, has no choice but to say, okay, that's what you get. But again, the good news is, because I consciously or unconsciously chose that, at any point I can say, that's no longer my experience. Do we come from this place of not enoughness? Do we come from this place of life being a struggle for 80 or 90 or 100 or 110 years until we go to the sweet by and by? I would suggest that if that's our experience, there is the opportunity to say, now, wait just a minute, what do I believe about my day-to-day life and about all those experiences? And is there a way to change my story into one that is wonderful and passionate and joyful and abundant? If I have the thought that life is like a beaver colony, one damn thing after another, if I believe that, if I have that thought, and that might be an old belief, then my life manifests in that way. Again, not because I'm being punished for something, but just because that's what I believe. Remember Murphy's Law. If anything could go wrong, it will. And quoting our buddy Job from the Old Testament, the thing that I have feared the most has come upon me. So if we dwell in fear, if we dwell in resentment and regret and anger and all of those things, that becomes our experience. And because, again, Spirit has no choice but to give us what we ask for, consciously or unconsciously, we get more of those wonderful experiences. But at any point, we can say that is no longer my experience. I had the opportunity, as Judy mentioned, I'm board president for the affiliated New Thought Network, and we had a great board retreat at a retreat center outside of Louisville, Kentucky, a couple of weeks ago. And then, so I was there during the week and then went on to Tampa, spoke at a church in Tampa, and flew home that Sunday night. So 2 weeks ago today. There was something going on with the weather, and there was this huge weather front hanging over most of the United States. And so flights were delayed. And so I'm in Tampa and I live in San Diego. So I couldn't get any further. I could get a little bit further east from home, but not too easily. So the flight's delayed, and I'm flying Tampa, San Francisco, then San Francisco, San Diego. And I'm watching the United Airlines app to see that my flight's been delayed. And my flight's been delayed. And my flight's been delayed. And so my flight's been delayed to the point that I'm not going to make the connection from San Francisco to San Diego. And this is the last flight of the night. Will they hold it? Because they can see that I'm with them. I'm coming from someplace else. I'm not out playing. Will they hold it? Will I have to sleep in the airport? Will I have to go find a hotel around the San Francisco airport and pay for it? And my drama mind starts to do what sometimes our drama mind does. Well, if I have to sleep in the airport, I've never done that before, but I could do that. It'll be uncomfortable, but I could, hunker around my carry-on luggage and that'll be okay. I could go to the airport and get a couple of hours sleep and then get to the airport and fly home Monday morning because I got to be at work by 11 o'clock Monday morning. Or I could allow Spirit to do what Spirit does and know that I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out, but I know that I am safe. I know that I am loved and all is well. It's living in that mystery. And we have those sometimes. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know how this is going to be resolved, but I know that I am safe and all is well. So Course in Miracles says there's no order of difficulty in miracles. And so what happened was the pilots flying the plane from Tampa to San Francisco were the same pilots flying the next plane from San Francisco to San Diego. So they couldn't leave without me because I was on the same flight as the pilots going to San Diego. Was it a miracle? Yeah. What's my perception of a miracle? It's not just to me. It's not, and I was reminded yet again, it's not just the parting of the Red Sea. It's not just the feeding of the 5,000. It's not just winning the lottery. It's not just a parking place in the front row at Costco at lunchtime on Saturday. It's the day-to-day experiences that life brings us. And we say, yes, thank you, and more, please. So to make a story even longer, got to San Francisco, made a mad dash for my connecting gate. I, of course, was the last one on the plane except for the two pilots. And then they got in and we waved at each other because they recognized me from the first flight. Got home, my luggage arrived, hit the bed just before 2 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. Thank you. A miracle. And yet Of course. I didn't know how it would play out, but I knew that I'd be safe and all is well. If you looked at that, so on the list of the possible outcome of all of those things, that's pretty close to impossible. And yet, what if we looked at that word a different way and said, I am possible? Yeah, you might remember the book Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, and I have a great quote for you, and you might remember this. So Alice is talking with the queen, and she says, she laughs, "There's no use trying." She said, "One can't believe impossible things." And the queen responds, "I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." I love the concept of that. Because is it possible? It absolutely is, if we believe it. If we allow spirit to do what spirit does, then whatever good that is that we're ready to experience, whatever not so good that is that we're ready to release, is possible for us. But it's up to us to decide and do what we need to do to make that happen. Do you remember, and y'all might have talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but it'll be review, the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And Gene Wilder was the first one to sing this song, Pure Imagination. And if you remember the story, you remember that that has the chocolate factory and is looking for a young person to be his heir and take over the factory when he retires or dies. And so this amazing song about our imagination. Now, us, or is it we? We, I guess, we mature adults aren't always encouraged to use our imaginations to look at what's possible, and we see it, we hear somebody's going somewhere or doing something or getting something, and we say, "Oh man, I would love to do that," and no resentment here, but if you can do it, then I can do it. And our ego, Wayne Dyer said that stands for edging God out, says, yes, but you don't have you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too thin, you don't have enough money. What will they think? Which is a whole nother Sunday talk. All of those reasons why it couldn't possibly happen. I have a dear friend who had not worked outside her home for 13 years and was just working part-time and decided in her heart of hearts that it was time. And all the odds were against her because she's 60 years old and female and hadn't worked outside the home in a really long time, and all of those other things that outside ourselves we might look at and say, well, to make a long story longer, she got an amazing full-time job with an insurance company, is doing fantastically. What do we classify as impossible? And what do we allow the universe to say, of course, let me help you with that. Let me create that for you. Imagination. So how could it be? Yeah, I know how it is now, but how could it be? What good could I create in my life? And Phoebe Tickle wrote an article for awaken.org, which is a website. And she writes, imagination is a superpower. Every single change in society started in somebody's imagination or in a small group collective's imagination. From women getting the vote to the civil rights movement or better services for healthcare. Some say it's the quality that makes us most uniquely human, especially our ability to collectively imagine the new. But imagination is not recognized for what it is. the star stuff of truly radical innovation that builds a new world into being, it's often dismissed as something associated with daydreaming, fantasy, and fiction. So in your imagination this afternoon, what's next for you? Without the yes buts, if we didn't have to figure out how to do it, if we recognize that our responsibility is only in the what, not the how, what would we choose to experience? What would we lovingly release that no longer serves us? Because I would suggest that there is the accepting the new, but there's also the releasing the old resentments, the old regrets, the old stories, the old beliefs, the old stuff, using a purely spiritual term, that no longer serves us. What are we ready to lovingly release? Emily Dickinson wrote about dwelling in possibility and hope, and she wrote, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tunes without the words and never stops at all." Because today is the best day to begin to make those changes in our lives. And if everything's fine, if we're in our heart of hearts, if we're happy, that is wonderful. But yes, but wouldn't it be cool if I could? And life says, of course. And we listen. We remember in the Sermon on the Mount in the New Testament, Jesus says, ask, seek, and knock. Do we do that as New Thought practitioners? And I would suggest that if you've been in this teaching more than 6 months, you're a practitioner, whether you have a certificate on your wall or not. As New Thought practitioners, do we, and religious scientists, do we get the universe off the dime? Okay, I've done this for this long. I've put up with this for this long. I've allowed this for this long, but this afternoon is the time that I'm going to say this and no further and step into my greater good. Do we allow that? We don't have to. We're the beloved, we're the essence, expression, and experience of spirit, just as we are. There's nothing we have to do. But if you had my grandmother always used to say, if you had your druthers, if you'd rather have chocolate instead of caramel, if you'd rather ... and life always says yes, what if we put our hats on as possibilitarians and began to ask, seek, and knock? What do I need to do to make this happen? What, quoting Edwin Gaines, a dear friend and one of my favorite authors, what must I change about myself in order to receive this? Because the universe is not withholding anything from us. It's our belief about whatever it is. So what must I change about myself in order to receive this? Because that's what we're here for. We're here for the joy and the passion and the lusciousness. That's what we're here for. And it's there and it's available to us. We just have to say yes. So I'd like to close with a quote from Robert F. Kennedy. Some people see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? So with that in mind, join me in the light for just a minute. And in the peace and the quiet of this moment, we offer great gratitude for this beloved spiritual community, for the opportunity to be together today on this glorious day. And as we move forward, we allow ourselves to take the steps as possibilitarians, to look at what's possible, to recognize when we get that nudge, that inner guidance, that divine discontent, that's our soul saying, wouldn't it be cool if? And if we have a passion and a burning desire, there must be a way. There must be a way for that miracle, recognizing miracles are normal and natural. There must be a way for that miracle to happen for us. So we move forward today in that experience of possibility and say, yes, thank you, and more, please, to the abundance, to the joy, to the passion, to this most amazing life, because that's what we're here for. For this day, for the opportunity to be together, for this beloved community, we give great thanks. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Jerry. What an awesome talk and message. And we will see you on Zoom in just a few minutes. All right, everybody. Thanks. We appreciate you being here. Now it's time for our new minister sacred covenant easy prayer. You can download this on cslmidtown.org. Scroll down and there's a PDF you can download and read it yourself each and every day. There's only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. And knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of spirit as principle. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God. For it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law, which is available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister before me as inspiring spiritual oneness through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspired to live as love in the expression of principle. I'm awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I'm offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and empowered living. I'm extending the love, compassion, and transformative power of spirit into the wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express spirit and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious, and so it is. Now it's time for our conscious giving. And for those of you that listen to this at another time other than being online, we really appreciate you. We bring these awesome, amazing speakers to us. And if you're spiritually fed, please consider doing an online, ongoing donation. You can do that at cslmidtown.org/donate or scan the QR code here on the screen. Here's our affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And I've got a couple of announcements. Next week is the first week in April. Hard to believe that already. April's theme is the practice of becoming. And we're going to be in person. And Reverend Dr. John Karn is going to be our speaker. I'm coming out. So join us if you're in Atlanta. Come to the Garden Hills Community Center. I'd like to thank Judy for being our practitioner today. And remember, if you want to dive deep a little bit more, each Sunday at 10 a.m., there's an adult discussion group. You can join that on the Zoom link by going to cslmidtown.org, scrolling down to the Zoom. Same place you'll get to go talk to Reverend Jerry right after this. So let's now look at our affirmation of life. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is. Have a great week, everybody.